This time we're going to be looking at Classics 2.0 Universe Deluxe Class Galvatron. This is one of the few actual unique molds of Galvatron, so I have some high hopes for this toy. So let's go ahead and check it out. Galvatron's tank mode is roughly about the same size as Deluxe Brawl from the movie line, and is just about as uninteresting to look at in this mode as with most other Deluxe class tanks. A couple of this vehicle mode's biggest flaws really lie within the transformation process itself. One big issue that I really have a problem with is when you look on the bottom of it, you can see this little piece here, which will eventually become an arm in it for the robot, but this piece can pop off so easily. And if it does, if you want to keep it in tank mode, you're pretty much screwed, because with it cornered in here, and you can get the piece in, but you can't rotate it around to get it flush like this, so you pretty much have to half transform them to get the arm back in. And I even actually had to pause the recording because that popped out and I had to fix it. And numerous times have I almost poked out my eye with this missile unintentionally, because this is very sensitive to the touch and it is pretty powerful. When I had my headphones on, I just barely touched this button and the missile fired out and hit me in the headphones. So there's a potential hazard there with poking your eye out. Has this rather dull gray color, but colors really don't show off the details as much as they could. They could have added a lot more silver wraps to it. And on the sides of the turn, it says Galv 25. Galv is short for Galvatron, and 25 is to celebrate the 25th anniversary Transformers. The turret itself can rotate all the way around, but is very limited in up and down movement. It has no articulation for it that is meant for it. But aside from those, it's rather boring tank mode. It would have been more interesting if it was, say, a Voyager class toy, as I believe it should have been. But I think they said in the interview that the only reason they made him a deluxe is because there's too many large tanks. It's because their tanks are supposed to be big. Isn't that the point? But I can't understand their logic behind that. Now, first pictures that we saw of it kind of hinted that it was made it look like it was supposed to be a shell former. This is absolutely not a shell former. It is actually fairly complex for a little deluxe class toy. I'm going to start by popping these off to the side, and you gotta be careful of these because these can detach from the hinges fairly easily. See, I just barely touched that with my corner of my thumb in, so set that off the side because I'm sure I'll do that again later if I put it back in. Somehow, please forgive it if this is going to seem clumsy, because I've only done this once before and I don't have the patience for this toy right now. Pop that up and then close this, and now I actually really like that, oddly enough. I don't know why. It's fairly unique. I've never seen a tank transformer that had that kind of motion in it. And then somehow, there you go, separate the front section of the tank, which will become the legs. Okay. I'm going to rotate around so you actually get a good position of what we're supposed to be looking at. So many little parts swivel around on the leg, so it can be really confusing at times. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Legs. There we go. Okay. And that's something that's been rather, not really a bad thing with the Universe line, is that even for the deluxe class figures, they seem to be fairly complicated, almost to the point that they're not very fun, especially with this one. There's so many pieces that can snap on and off so easily. See? Just like that. And if you do that while it's in take mode, you're screwed. And it doesn't help that the hinge that it's on is pretty stiff. Okay. I forget what I was talking about. But yeah, oh yeah. I really haven't been liking how clumsy some of the transformations are for these figures. As far as I haven't got the Ultra class figures yet. I'm going to be getting a Power Glide though. Not sure about Silver Bolt. So I've only really dealt with the deluxe class figures, and it's really turning me off of the entire Universe line. But this does have a surprising amount of kibble for it, especially on the back. Somehow. Yeah. Not much thought really went into hiding these treads here on the back. Rotate his one hand around, and then the entire arm. And then I'll go ahead and put in his missile now that we're done. And here he is in robot mode. Has some influences from the Generation 1 show model. Not as much as I like. Way too much gray shows on this character. The purple is a little bit too purple for what I think from what I remember Galvatron being in the movie. He has this Decepticon symbol on his arm instead of his chest, which I wish they could have kept that, because without it kind of makes his chest just look boring to me. Can't really think of a better way to explain it. His Unicron-esque abs here are rather flat and pretty boring to look at. His missile here, his gun, does have the similar Generation 1 quality to it, and the orange in the general shape of it, but that's about it, because there's just so much of the tank pieces showing on here. I think they could have really got a more traditional Galvatron look out of this if they would chose a different vehicle mode. I just think that was pretty easy for them to think of a tank because of this long cannon. But there's some, if they would have thought about it, there's should have been more things that they could have thought of. And I'm not sure if I just have them wrong, but I've been having a real hard time. Hold on, there we go. There we go. There we go. Now he's able to stand. Gotta make sure you turn the waist around. So the purple waist, purple crotch, or else he won't be able to keep his legs closed. That sounds so weird saying that. Oh well. Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed with this figure. It looks good as far as design goes. Like, if I'm holding him from a distance, it doesn't look half bad. But similar to other Universe figures such as Octane, or Tankor if you want to call him, once you really get up close and start playing with him, there's just not a whole lot going on for him. The sculpting is really nice on the face and the entire head. I like that. He has a unusually mean looking expression on his face. Almost looks like a Ninja Turtle with his grimace going on. But I really wish there would have been a Voyager class figure, because there could have been so much more that they could have done with this figure. This lacks so much playability with him. I'm just really disappointed with it. I really even wouldn't recommend him for hardcore collectors. The only way I could recommend him is just to keep him in his package, because the box art and having him mint and sealed box is probably the best way to keep this figure, because the transformation is awful, the tank mode sucks, and the robot mode is really lacking. So I really cannot recommend this figure at all. Alright, until next time, thank you for watching.